Hello everyone, we have Sanfa.
Hi, Swati. I have my regulars. I don't know who is the N1188. What's your name?
Reveal yourself.
Hi, Amy.
Hi.
Hi, Swati. Christy. I don't know who's N. Oh, okay, I've got it checked. Okay, that's okay, Amy. Thank you for still coming in. Amy is unwell and she's still here. That is so good. Hi, Lo. Yep, got it. Okay. Just gonna captions.
I changed the name for you.
Ah, good. Yeah, it's easy. Shinsing. All my regulars are here. I could just get started. So, okay. I'm going to share my screen for today. Right. So how did we go this week? Ola, I have to tell you, this is a very quiet group. I mean, in exception with Christy, who shares quite a bit, even online and here. But everyone else are very quiet. Swati, every now and then, participates,
You
but they're
never
very
know.
quiet.
It's
So
the
this is
last
not
week, things might change. Maybe someone will share more.
Yeah, I hope so. I have to change it. It is not Q&A. It is very much Santa's lecture. So I keep talking and they keep listening. So it's not a really Q&A, but I hope this is the final week. This is week 5. Can you imagine how fast this whole thing has come by? So how did you find it? Like, ask me questions, share with me anything that you want to share. Anyone, who's going to start first?
Me.
Amy, you can type if you'd like, and I can go from there.
I have this straight after my supervisor meeting, so it takes me a little while for my head to recover.
Okay, I completely relate with that. Whenever I have my supervisors meeting, I don't want to do, I will tell them, okay, I'll get that done, I'll get that done. But at least for an hour or two, I don't want to even think about it. I can relate with that.
No, like right after
So,
meeting,
Walk away
sometimes I
from
can
it.
do something, but sometimes I'll just be like, for 1 hour, I don't know what I'm doing, and then I'll just go and eat lunch.
yes, exactly. How many of you can relate with that? Like you think you've got it all, and then I'm ready. I'll send you a calendar invite for the next invite, but I will like I'm not. After I put the phone down, it's just like I'm not doing anything that I said I was going to do at least for the next few hours because that's how it is. There's so much to process, isn't it?
Picked up the phones, opened up Diablo, and started killing monsters.
All right. Okay. So any questions? How did you find this week's module? This is the final week. So how did you find? Like you're glad that it's over? Or is this like, what more can you learn? Where are you sitting at?
Well, I glanced through it in the last 10 minutes just now.
Lawrence?
Um,
Okay.
no, because I didn't expect myself to be so busy after I've launched my thesis because I've been doing like self HDR stuff, and then I very stupidly went and like signed in for like 3 of these eGrad modules, and I haven't really done much in the other 2 either. So they're all just like hanging there in like to do
Yeah.
like, okay, when will I actually get to thinking about it? But yeah,
Yeah.
literally like
Yeah.
today's
My
module.
advice is if it is a heavy model, do one at a time. If it's not as heavy, do 2. 3 can be too much because if you really want to get the most out of these modules, eGrad modules, you really need to participate and, spend some time looking at it, reflecting upon it so that you can learn and grow. Not that whole idea of like, okay, I've registered it all 3, and then you get overwhelmed, like, apart from your other deadlines and supervisors' deadlines and things like that, you don't want to have too many things to read. Your brain needs to process so many new information as well. So my advice in future is just like, with experience as well, it's just like one module if you think it is heavy. That's why eGrad module, like organized by Ola, they give you the first week. The week 0 is for you to determine, when you look at the commitments, you're looking at the, whatever the modules each week, go through them and then you go like, oh, this is heavy. Can I handle these two at the same time? Or maybe I'll do this one and one, another one. So the week 0 is where you measure. Usually, Ola would know how many times I have like gone in and then I'll go after week 0, go like, Ola, get me out of this. I'll do it next time, kind of thing. So some modules are repeated like twice a year. Some modules are only done once a year. So go onto the eGrad page and you'll know if it's once a year, do that. If it's twice a year, maybe, do it in the next semester when it comes back again. So yeah, work with
as
your...
in, like I did not expect that I would be busier. Like I thought I would be very free and I could go and do all the 3 modules.
Who
So
says you'll be free with PhD? Like, is there a
no, like
word
I've
free?
submitted my thesis. I have no academic stuff left to do, but I still have a lot
fair
of non-academic stuff to do,
Yeah.
which
Okay.
is taking up more time than I expected.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Okay.
Ah.
Cool. Anyone else? How did you find this week's module? We talked about grown-up model, which is actually usually the grow model, but I just added a few more features to it. I felt like we need to be, grown up here. And talked about limiting beliefs. We talked about be, do, share. So anything that really hit the nail, anything that is like, oh, I didn't see it that way, or that's going to help me to move forward. Oh, I didn't know I had such limiting beliefs, kind of thing. Because sometimes we don't know why we stop doing certain things because of the limiting beliefs. So if anything just, kind of like, whoa, open up that bulb in your heads. Anyone want to share?
Seeing things on paper or like on screen where instead of just thinking it's all in your head and that you're going to go nuts with whatever's going on, all of a sudden realizing, wait a second, this is something that's like pretty well discussed and everything else. So yeah, everybody else has fun with it too. All right.
Awesome. That's good because because now you're opening up to become more aware of it. That's why the whole 5 weeks was placed in such a way that increases your self-awareness. The minute you're aware of what you're thinking, what you're feeling, how you're acting or reacting, it gives you the power to control what you can control and makes it easier to react and act upon it as well. So I looked at some of the activities, the response that I got, that, how if you've been viewing your mistakes or failures in your personal professional life. And it was interesting to see the opportunities for learning and growth when I had 54% responding to that. And then I've got, the setbacks that discouraged me from trying again was 15%. And indicators of incompetence and inadequacy is 32%. It's really interesting. Like, it's not like everyone says this is a learning or growth, because sometimes in the past we may have fallen into the trap of, I'm not good enough, I'm not competent, I'm inadequate. That's why I didn't get the job. All kinds of things will come through your head, and how you deal with it or how you reacted to it. So we've got Amy here who said, reinforced my belief about how important self-compassion is and how important research into increasing self-compassion is, especially for some mental health conditions. Absolutely, Amy. That's spot on. Absolutely spot on. Wait, you shared something before that? Who is it? I'm frustrated. I spent 2+ hours for just now doing some acquittal report for Seth. Okay. Okay.
Yes, sorry. If I seem very like overly
Yeah.
um
Sometimes, yeah, sometimes I have done that, in the midst of everything, you'll be doing something that's not as important, but then you end up doing it because sometimes you don't want your brain to work too much. So you end up doing something that is not important because, your brain doesn't want to work too hard with the important and urgent work as well. So it's okay. So it's like, don't need to apologize. And I love the fact that you honestly admitted it. So that's so good. Not everyone does that too. Okay.
but yeah, so I mean when I glance through the content, I can somewhat relate to some of the points that I mentioned. For me, the biggest issue when I want to do my own personal goals, like, cause there's like
You're
so many
breaking,
things that I
Swati.
want to do, right? So the PhD thing has to be like the first priority, and then there'll be some of these other activities like my self-HDR activities or like teaching or anything else. And then like my personal goals get pushed so low below that whole priority list because I just don't have the time, or like I have a really strong procrastinating ability, or like just
Mm.
not able to focus. So that was
Alright.
like very relatable, like that procrastination is the biggest thing that prevents me from doing some of those personal goals.
Yeah. So how are you going to deal with that procrastination now that you're aware that it is procrastination, or is it that
Yeah, I'm
you're
not sure
placing
if
more
it's like a
importance to others?
normal procrastination or if it's just that I have this like strong aversion to getting something started. Like I know there's this thing where if you start an activity, then you're likely to do it, and I have that quite a bit. Uh, I tend to procrastinate certain activities, even like normal everyday activities sometimes, and it's just kind of a mess.
I'm really bad at finishing things. Isn't that funny? We could work well as a team. I'll get things started and you finish.
So you get started and not finish, and Swati procrastinates. See, the thing is that you got to think about with Swati's comment there. When you are procrastinating, there's reasons. Either it is it is something that you feel that it's not important, that you know unconsciously or consciously that it can be put for the later. Like, I can do it, I can push it further. Sometimes your brain is going, oh, I still have 2 more days, I can afford to leave it for later. I still have 1 more day. Oh, I can just send an email to my supervisor saying that I can't do this, I need another week's extension. You know how when you get an extension, there's a possibility of an extension, your brain automatically procrastinates, right? So that's one way of thinking. Another one is you're not confident about something in that particular task, that you're not having enough confidence or motivation to get it done, because you feel that you're not gonna, you're gonna struggle. You feel that that too hard basket. You're sitting on the too hard basket. You're not ready to face it. So you become exhausted even before you start. So the best way it's like procrastinate, like, you leave it for later, because it's like, how many times, when you start, like, end of the day, you go like, I'm going to do this first thing tomorrow morning, this is what I'm going to do. And then the first thing tomorrow morning, you look at it, you're already exhausted. You haven't even started, you're exhausted, so I need to go like, you know what? I think I will do everything else and get that one done, and then maybe leave this at a time where I'm a bit more awake, and then you put it to the afternoon. And then you go like, after lunch, this is what I want to do. And then after lunch, you go like, oh, I feel like my brain is so cloggy, just, I've got so much happening, and maybe I could send an email. It's like all these things comes in because you're not confident enough to face the challenge that is sitting right in front of you. So that's another thing. And so once you become, and then you come to the point where your back is against the wall. Trust me, right? Sometimes when when your back is against the wall, you got no other way out. Like, that means you have to go through the wall. That's when your brain works better. That's when you suddenly feel like, you know what, I got no choice, no excuse. I have to get this done. And then you sit and you start getting it done, or, you're just working on it. And then you come to a particular point and you go like, why didn't I do this 2 days ago? It's just like, I could have done this 2 days ago. Why did I put it off? I could have done this 2 days ago, and then come to a point where you cannot progress and you need somebody's help. But if only you did that 2 days ago, you would have gotten the help and you would have got it done. But then no, you procrastinated so long, and now you've come to a point, it's too late to ask for help. You have to get it done and send off a terrible draft to your supervisor, who'll be thinking, you waited for, you sent this late, and that too not good enough. So this is how you learn, right? So that's why now I come to a point where if I'm procrastinating, I start measuring, am I not confident in that chapter? Am I not confident in that work? Or is it because so you have to identify the reason for your action. Why are you acting like that? So once you know the reason, you eliminate that. So what is causing you? you eliminate that and you get it done. But on saying that, I am a person who works better when my back is against the wall. Like, suddenly it's my brain is just open up and everything comes into place, and I feel like I work under pressure. How many of you work under pressure? I work under pressure so well. I hate it. I really hate it, but I do my best at that time.
Me.
I mean, I guess sometimes it works, sometimes no. Like it depends on whether I actually feel the urgency. Like sometimes I'm unable to feel urgent even when I am urgent.
Mm.
And that's also dependent on whether I got enough sleep, whether or like whether my brain is ready to do stuff. Like like today, I actually make sure I got enough sleep, so I immediately was able to do things. But like, I think the last few days I was like really tired, and then I was just like,
Mm.
just extra procrastination.
So
Also,
your procrastination is driven by your lack of rest.
yeah, I think it's not just for me, mostly it's either the first reason, something that's not important, which is a lot of my personal goals are not very important. Like they don't give me any help in my academics, or like they don't give me any money or anything. They're just personal desires, and therefore they get pushed to. I don't know when it will ever happen, but it's not like something urgent or important. The second reason, not so much, but like the reason that I usually face is because I feel uncomfortable doing it rather than unconfident. I tend to be uncomfortable, especially, in the winter, I tend to procrastinate going to shower. Like I will, if it is nighttime and it gets cold and I'm like, I do not want to shower, and then I'll literally just not shower and then do it the next day morning instead. That is the sort of thing that I procrastinate. I procrastinate going to shower. I procrastinate doing very boring, mundane things like marking. I hate marking so much. Like on Saturday, I think I was trying to do marking a few days ago, and then instead of marking, I did so many other things. I washed my clothes. I don't know what else I did. I cooked, and I did so many other things, but I did not do the marking. And then by the time I got to it, it was too late, and I was just like too sleepy to do it.
Yeah. I mean, like it happens. Like, I have been a culprit of when I have the most amount of work to do, and the closer the deadline is getting, that's when all of a sudden the household chores become so attractive. It's just like, oh, maybe I'm gonna fold my clothes, or maybe I need to mop, kind of thing. And so whenever my husband see me doing so much of household work, go like, don't you have is there a deadline? Do you have a supervisor's meeting coming along soon? Like, because he knows that if I'm just putting this over my work, that means I'm trying to avoid something, I'm procrastinating. So then instead of sitting there doing nothing and feeling guilty about it, I'm doing housework. So that makes me feel better because I'm contributing in some other ways. But there are also other times that I have procrastinated because I put others above me. I don't know how many of you can relate with that as well, where someone else, like, something doing for someone else is more important than doing something that's important to me. Has anyone been in that situation?
Yep.
Is that Karen? I think you said a yes earlier too.
It is. I live with my mum, so it's sort of generally, like if she's, she'll clean the house and stuff like that, and it's taken me a long time to accept that she will clean whenever she wants to clean, and I don't have to go and help her just because she's doing it. She knows I'm doing stuff, so she doesn't expect me to help her. But it's taken me a while to sort of to get out of that. And then, like, if I hear her sort of pottering around the house sort of doing stuff and she sounds like she might be having trouble, then I really want to just get up and go and give her a hand, even though I know I need to be concentrating and blocking everything else out.
Yes.
So while she's
So why do
away,
you do that?
I'm having an absolute.
Is it because she's important, or you're trying to procrastinate from what you're doing? Like you're finding an excuse to get up from what you're doing?
Oh, totally excuse. I
Because
was,
if she needs you, she would have said, I need you, right?
yeah, that's it. That's it. But yeah, any excuse will do, right?
So why are you looking for that excuse? So what is it about that particular task that you're avoiding?
I think sometimes if there's not enough pressure to get it done, I can't find. It's almost like pressure is like gunpowder. You need the motivation to then get the spark lit so that you've got enough sort of get up and go to get something done and to keep running with it and actually run with it and not dawdle.
Mm.
But then at the same time, there's also the flip side of it where you freak out that you're going to stuff something up and that it's just not going to be good enough. So why bother doing it in the first place?
There you go. So that is the thing. So, you know, the limiting beliefs I was talking about in this week's module, like I'm not going to be good enough, the self-doubt and all the limiting beliefs and everything, that is the one that's standing in your way. So which means you are standing in the way of what you want to achieve on something that you started doing it. Nobody asked you to do, you did it. You enrolled in this course, you want to pursue, you want to do research, you want to become a researcher, you are a researcher. So you're choosing this position, and then you build in all this evidence for I'm not good enough, I'm not, competent, or I may not get this right anyway. So why bother putting so much effort? So all these things that you're coming up with, the self-doubt, the limiting beliefs, it could be the little mini voice inside you, but it's not helping you to move forward. So now what you need to do is like shut down, go back to the big why. Why did you even want this? What is the bigger picture there? You see, now I have come to a point, I'm writing out my thesis, right? And doing my final analysis. And sometimes when I get really bogged down with, all these family commitments and the issues that's going on in my life at the moment, I tell myself like, my graduation. So I want to graduate this time next year. And what am I going to wear? Kind of thing. Something that motivates, like, what am I going to wear? Should I wear traditional? Should I wear modern? Like, or what color should I? So, sometimes I look at that, I'm going like, to do that, to get there, I need to get this. And then I find that as my motivation. Who's going to be there for my graduation? And this is going to be my biggest achievement, tick in my life that I have taken this long to achieve. And why am I standing on my own way? Come on, Santa, you can do it. I got this. So I got this thing saying every time, it's just like, I got this, it is like telling myself, I got this. I know I can do this. So you have to get that kind of like find something and the milestone. Can you imagine if you like, are you all like finished your confirmation or something? Everyone has finished.
I'm under review with my confirmation.
You got to be different.
Under what? Sorry?
I'm under review, which means I qualifiably stuffed it up.
Oh, in your confirmation?
Yeah, and have to redo it.
Okay. So the thing is that they didn't say you're doomed, right? They didn't say, because I know there are people after confirmation, they'll tell them, I think you should drop down to masters. I think you should just call it off. If you're under review, that means there's something, there's potential. They do believe that there's something there that you just need to express it in a way that they need to hear.
To be fair, I tried to write my
Sometimes it's not about telling what you want to tell, it's about telling them what they want to hear. So that's also important. So if you're under review, there's potential and there's help. There are people who can be allocated to help you with it. I hope you have got that help. If you don't, stay after this session. I'll let you know who to contact. Okay?
Yeah, I do.
And anyone else finish your, like Christy, if you finish your conference, Christy, why are you so quiet today?
I don't know. Can't get a word in edgeways today. Everybody's talking. Yeah, I've still got to do my milestone 1. So, and for me, the biggest thing, I've been through you could say a major life change. I've moved from Brisbane. I've come to Perth, had to reset up the house. So all those little distractors are actually, I've got to decide what's important and do stuff to get to the point where I can just confidently just come into uni and get on with stuff. So, and that's why my procrastination is. It's not really procrastination. It's actually I've got so much to do. Like this week, I just got to go and Department of Transport change licenses. And it's all the running around that I've got to do that's stopping me from actually just coming in and sitting down. When I do sit down and do something, I get quite productive. catching up on the discussions within the modules.
Yeah.
And I get something done, then I'll sit down at the computer at night, I'll get on with it, and just
Mm.
and then it's done. Except the other day, I managed to delete a whole hour's work quite effectively.
Ouch.
Luckily, I remember what I typed. So I
Nice.
just
So I like the way you actually
yeah,
Uh-oh.
he died.
Disappeared.
Hola, you there?
I ended up, one of the things that I did, I printed out one of my transcripts from my last lot of study because doing a PhD now, but I did a master's before that. I printed out my transcript from that so that that could remind me that I do have a brain. We forget every now and then. We're just like, oh my God, I can't do this. But that's that whole like quantifiable proof that I got these marks. I have a brain. You're muted.
Santa, you muted.
sorry. They
Go
wouldn't
back.
have accepted you in the program if I keep dropping out in and out. So that's why the share screen is not working either.
Yeah.
They wouldn't have accepted you in this program. You know, like sometimes you start a new job and then you feel you're not good enough. They wouldn't have accepted you in the new job if you're not good enough. You have
Yeah.
come this far. You have come this far, and look back and see all your qualification that got you where you are now. Not everyone get accepted. Not everyone where the supervisors are interested in working with you. You know, there are so many people out there. How did you get into your PhD? Like, it's so hard. Like, you know, I find it so hard to get a supervisor who would look into my topic, or they'll go like, you know, it's so hard to get through the administration, and it's just, so there's so many people out there can't even get where you are right now. So you're already qualified to be where you are. But now you've got to understand that you have come this far, and what is stopping you could be you. But what you're doing, it's like we use all these external things to say that's what's stopping me. But it may not be the external factors. It could be you standing on your way. And that's the you need to say, I got this, I got to move forward, and I know I can. And if I can't, I know I can get help. Because that's one thing with QUT PhD program. There's a whole team out there, GRAD. You know, have you heard like GRAD? Like they run the courses and everything. The whole team is out there to help you in every step of the way. I have attended in the last 4 years, I think 3 or 4 years, I have attended every course there is that provided by GRAD. The academic writing or everything, right? I may think that, oh, I know enough to come this far, but I also wanted to know if there's any gap in my knowledge, if there's anything I've missed out, especially when I had so many years of break from university education. I just wanted to know, what are the new expectations? What are the new things they're talking about that I may not be aware of? Even common mistakes in writing, like, oh, of course I know how to write. I don't need to attend a course, but I did, so you can even have one-on-one help with them. So and what Ola does with the eGrad module is like, all the topics, you look at the strength in all the topics, so they're also very helpful. So that's why I'm saying, if you seek, there is help. You're not doing this alone. You don't need to do this alone. So that's why we have programs like this where you connect with each other. And if everyone, like I have, you can create friendship where you are on the same boat, so you can travel along together and motivate each other. Because, we are writing our own topic. We are the unique, the novel topic that we have. So we don't have a class where we sit together. So this is the class where you're sitting together. And so you're writing a thesis where no one else is interested to read, but then you can actually have conversations. And I have someone where we converse about how many people have you got for your survey, how far are you in finishing your survey, things like that, just to check up on each other, motivate with each other. So when I'm done, she's going, oh, no, Santa, why don't you do this? Sometimes people talk about something that I never thought of, because you're overwhelmed already. So you may not have thought about something that is sitting right in front of you. So this is why you need to create that space. So limiting beliefs are things that you have put a stop to yourself and collected evidence for yourself. For example, it is like, sometimes I remember, I'm going to give you this example with the permission of my client that I saw many years ago. She was saying, like, it's a simple example, outside the research component, right? She in her when she was 54, she came to me, and she was always saying that she's not married, she doesn't have kids, she's not in a good position professionally, she didn't complete her studies where she wanted to be, and things like that. So everything was like, question mark, question mark, question mark. So I went back to her childhood to see what has happened. So she rewind back, and then she said the very first time when her mom, she had a single mom, and so she wanted to help the mom. So when she was 6 years old, when her mom came back from work, she wanted to set the table and everything. So she wanted to do some sort of a help, like my mom can come and prepare the food and it's all ready to set. Everything is ready. But what the mom did was she appreciated her, right? She said, "Oh, thank you so much. I really appreciate what you did. But this is not how you do it. The spoon needs to be here, the fork needs to be here, the knife needs to be here, and you need to put it here." So she was correcting her with the best intention. So which means she acknowledged her and she taught her how to do it in the right way, right? So that didn't go well with this 6-year-old mind because she felt, oh, I didn't do a good job. I'm not good. I'm not a good daughter. And then she went on to the room and she saw the clothes were all folded. And then she said, "Oh, thank you so much. It's so nice of you to do this. But," and she took out and she said, "This is not how you fold it. This is how you do it." So she showed her the right way. Great parenting, right? Acknowledged and taught her how to do it. But that 6-year-old thought, I am not good enough. I am not good enough to do what I wanted to do as a daughter. I'm not good enough. So from that age on, she felt that she was not good enough to get good grades. She's not good enough to go to university. She was not good enough to get the job that she applied, so she started applying for lower level job because she already told herself, if I can't be a good enough to fold my clothes, I cannot be. So everything went down to the 6-year-old's mindset. She's already engraved in her head, right? So she went on to have relationship. And when the guys proposed to her, she would go like, it's too good to be true, but I'm not good enough. I don't deserve it. So she rejected all the proposals that she had from men. So it took her 48 years later. You wouldn't believe, I was holding, like, on the phone. She was crying for at least 20 minutes nonstop. I wasn't talking. I was just holding the space for her. 20 minutes. And then she was saying, for 48, almost 5 decades of my life, I've been letting this 6-year-old tell me what to do and what not to do. Because what she did, she made decisions based on that belief that stopped her from doing anything else. And then because she didn't get the results, because she wasn't attempting, right? She collected more evidence. You see, I couldn't have done that. I couldn't have lived with this guy. I couldn't have done the job. So everything moment now. But the thing is that she had to go back to that space. So that's what you guys are, I've been telling you, the self-awareness and understanding your values. The but word is an evil word. It is, isn't it? Because when once you say it, like, if somebody tells me, "Oh, Santa, that was awesome," and I'm waiting to hear the but. Like, how many times you do that, right? They're actually giving a great compliment. In my head, it's like, is there a but? Is there a but? Is there a but? I feel like sometimes I might even listening to the compliments because I'm waiting for the but. What's going to come after the but? So I had to stop that because I was raised in, I had people in my life who had a lot of buts that I put it down to everyone. So until one of my mentor told me, "Santa, stop it. Just accept the compliment. People are complimenting you. Just learn how to accept it. Because the minute you don't accept the compliments, you're not acknowledging, you're not creating the self, you're not waiting for the validation. I don't need compliments to keep me move forward. But at the same time, when people are giving, I need to learn how to accept it, which means it's an external validation, but an internal acknowledgement too. But you can't reject it all. You know how many times sometimes when people say, oh, you did really well, you're like, oh yeah, I did, but it's not just me. I had people who helped me, kind of thing. You can't say thank you. I had people who helped me too, but you go like, no, it's not me. Every time we just reject it. So which means you think you don't deserve a compliment. You think you don't deserve any appreciation. So that's what you got to tell yourself. Okay, not always. It could be a habit of hope in a negative statement. Yes. And has the same effect with apologies. I'm sorry, but I did it because. Yes, indeed. Yeah. Except in Queensland, they use but as a sentence ender. Yeah, they finish with the but, right? Yeah, that's interesting. Every state, I have lived in 3 states in the last 3 decades, and every state has a different way of communicating. I understand that too. So this is where you guys have to, I'm going to share the screen again. As they won't, at least they're born in a developed country. That's true. Okay, hope this works. Okay, so this is what it is, right? Limiting belief, it's not what you are that holds you back. Isn't it? And also thinking will not overcome fear, action will. So every time you can't say, oh, I'm going to do this, I can do this, I'm really good at this, I can't, I got this kind of thing. I can sit down here and say, I got this, but if I don't take action, I don't have anything, right? So that's also important. So we also moved on, talked about the be, do, have model. It is like simply, who do you need to be in order to do what you want to do before you can have what you want to have? So the additional thing that I added focused on being the person they need to be, doing what they need to do so they can have everything they want to have, and then they die with it. It's not enough. You need to share and create a ripple effect. You want someone else to, so that's when I started becoming, doing modules and doing online classes where I wanted to share with people what I know, where I'm creating ripple effect. I mean, there are people who come to me after years later, still remembering what they have learned, or, I may have shared so much in the last 5 weeks, but there could be just 3 things or 2 things or even 1 thing that would have made an impact to create the change. So have this, that's why we give you the downloadable PDF for you to have it. So you can actually look back at your workbook. The workbook, the exercises that you're doing on your workbook. Trust me, if you do that in 2 years' time, you'll be surprised to see the changes in your answers, how your thinking have developed. Very first time how I did with my workbook, 5 years later, how I changed everything and, things like that. It's amazing how we have grown. Help conserve your traffic. Oh, maybe. Yeah, thank you, Karen. Maybe I'll try that if I get dumped out again, okay? Because I like to see you all, and I'm assuming you like to see my face as well. So, yeah. So the B do have, the questions that I asked for the self-doubt and limiting beliefs. So 16% actually responded to self-doubt and limiting beliefs. Then I had 9% who actually responded to fear of failure or rejection. And then 14% were lack of confidence and fear of judgment. And 25% was procrastination and lack of motivation. The highest was all of the above, 27%. So 27% have ticked all 4 for as the highest. And then there was 9% who said none of the above. I wish I gave another choice if there's anything else that is not in the list. So I should have done that. So that gave me when someone, because this is the first time I got the none of the above. And I should have given a space for other. There could be other reasons, so that could be standing on their way. So I just I'm mindful this is a final session, and also with the time factor. I just want to ask you, like, how do you feel right now? Like, when you first started in week 1 to in right now, is there anything that is still holding you back? Is there anything that's still you wish that you can reframe that? Because it's all in your head, your conscious awareness versus your unconscious mind. So how do you want to reprogram that? How do you want to, look at it from a different perspective that is going to change how you think? There's a picture. I should have that picture here, but I don't, I think. No. It is like where the cat is looking at the mirror, but what the reflection of the mirror is the lion. Have you seen that? Or a lion looking at the mirror and the reflection is a cat. So it is really how your perspective is. Sometimes people's perspective can actually change. How do you see things? Like sometimes even under the worst situation, like, now I am in a situation to decide to let go of my sister-in-law or hold, or, see how things are, right? But there is a lot of people's decision making is there, but it's the perspective. Where do you want to see? How do you want to see? What responsibility you want to take? Who is accountable for it? That decision making is how I can still hold myself, handle myself strongly, and still sit down here, disconnect from everything else, and do this, right? So it is how you perceive is how you're gonna, how I was sharing with you how the 6-year-old perceived from what the parent did. Any parent who would have taught you the right way to do things doesn't mean they're saying you are not good enough, but how the child's perception has affected her adulthood because of the child's belief. So in the last 5 weeks, right, I have shared the whole thing, the self-awareness, self-resilience, self-improvement, self-understanding. So we went around the circle. Is there anything that is still lingering in your head that you wish you could change?
Hello, Professor.
Yes.
Not in something I would change, but I just want to share about from the past weeks that studying about the module, especially in terms of self-doubt. I'm currently in my second year of PhD and I already done my confirmation. And in the middle of it, I feel doubting of myself, doubting of my work, especially there's no results because it's a progress. And for a couple of weeks, couple of months, I've been doubting myself, like, is this the right path? Maybe I should just quit. But a friend told me, and I also read that on your modules that um I think before, because last year I also attended this course, which is really good, which is helpful, is that we encounter doubts or this negative thoughts, is that sometimes you just need to pause, or if it helps. And also, yes, as what you said, that change the framing of perspective. So if there's a doubt, it means you're creating something that's a friction. It is uncertain, but in the end of it, you gain growth and develop more in your work or anything else. I guess that kind of perspective changed me. Although before, if I look like 3 years ago about myself, that if I had self-doubt, I would just be like isolate myself right away, which is bad. And yeah, which is really uh right to just change the perspective about certain things, like about self-doubt. It's not necessarily bad to have self-doubt. It's just how you
Absolutely.
reframe it.
Absolutely. That is wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing, Laura, because remember, you are in a program where you're supported by your supervisors, right? If they doubt, that's where it could be a trouble, but they're not. They're there still supporting you, right? There are some PhDs where they have done, where they have come to their final study and didn't get the results they were anticipating and think everything changed. But that doesn't mean they failed their PhD, right? See, the whole system is supporting you now. They're not saying this is not going to work. I think you should consider something else. They are behind you. When they're behind you, you got to also trust. That means internally, you got to trust that you got what it takes. And externally, the team is there behind you too. And have that conversation with them, have a chat with them to say, am I going in the right direction? I have had that, am I right? Am I on track? Am I just gone somewhere else? Kind of thing. So I've been in that situation. And but just giving them like, you are on track, and then but you need to look at this thing. There's always a but, this and that. But I always felt my way of reframing this time next year, can you imagine the amount of knowledge I'm going to have, the expertise I'm going to have, the credibility I'm going to have, the people's respect, that I'm going to earn, all of that. So they are my motivating factor. That's how I reframe. When I first started my PhD, I had an intention that I was going to interview 15 people and then get, translate that in this thing, analyze that, and I'll be done. But no, my supervisors set up a new challenge and they wanted me to do mixed methods. And the mixed method was focus group. I had no idea, like zero knowledge. What is focus groups? Like, and I've been in that kind of debate where people talk, kind of thing, but I didn't know you can have focus group and then you'd have to transcribe the focus group discussion and then analyze that and then get the data. I had no idea what survey or statistics or anything, right? Zero knowledge. So when they say you have to get the scale items, I'm going like, what is scale and what are items? Like I had no idea what they're talking about, right? So I felt even shy to even ask them, what do you mean by that? So I had to go and read up on it. So then I had to learn SPSS from scratch. I had to do the survey, the quadrics, everything from scratch and learn how to do that. And then I told myself, wow, last year I had no idea how SPSS, what does it even stand for? And now look at me knowing how to do analysis using a software. So now yesterday I got an email from my supervisor saying my study 2 and study 3 has got different factor loading. So I may have to learn a new software to do confirmation factor analysis that SPSS doesn't do. So she said, Cynthia, download this software. This is the instruction that comes with it. And this is a YouTube video if you want to listen. So now in a week, I'm supposed to be under the situation, I'm sitting in Singapore, I'm supposed to learn all these new software, new analysis, everything new from scratch, right? But then again, when she said that, I just turned off. Like I didn't even want to look at the laptop. Like I just turned off. Like I don't even want to look at it. I don't even want to go there. I'm kind of like, I want to finish writing up and now I have to learn another thing and from scratch. And how is my brain going to process, right? Then the next day I'm going like, how come she sent me so easily? Because you know why? She now trusts that I have that but competency to do this. She knew that I could download this, watch this video, download the software, look at these instructions, Santa will find out how to do it. So she had that trust in me. So I reframed, oh, she trusts that I can do it. She knows that I'm capable. She didn't even tell me to go and attend this course. She didn't even tell me I'll go through with you. She knew I could do this independently because I did with my SPSS, right? So I have shown that I'm capable. So which means she trusts my capability. So I thought like, oh, that feels like an energy boost. Like, someone trusts me. Like, she knows that I can do this. So that's one thing. Another thing is like, wow. So now I can go out and tell people that I know how to do this software and this software and this, so look at the amount of knowledge I'm gaining under this supervision that otherwise I would have just done 15 interviews and done with it. Get what I mean? So without them challenging me, driving me nuts sometimes, I wouldn't have come this far. So I'm ever grateful to my supervisors, even though they drive me nuts sometimes. I'm so grateful because I couldn't be who I am now in presenting at conferences about things that I have no idea what, even at the confirmation, I had no idea what I was talking about. Because I was just, because they were telling me this is what you're going to do. So I kind of wrote about it. And then a confirmation is just like, my supervisor said, if anyone is going to question you about your quantitative studies, and if you can't answer it, just tell them that my supervisory team will help you with that question, So they were willing to back me up there. But no, I had enough reading I did to answer some basic question. Thank God it wasn't too tough. So I managed to do it. My supervisor walked out and then she said, you nailed it. People don't know what you don't know. You presented it so well because I did it with that confidence because I've got my supervisor who said, right, they will support me if I'm stuck. And I read up enough to present what I needed to present, even though I had no idea what regression means, what factor analysis means. I had no idea, but I could present all about it, that confidence. But now I know. So sometimes if you got too easy pathway, there's only so much you know. But sometimes the challenges is the one that is actually growing. You know, if you really look back in your life, every time your growth was actually driven by the challenge that you had to face. Don't you think so? Whether it's personally, professionally, in your PhD, if it is something that you already know and you're writing about, that's writing a book. But when you're challenged and when you're doing research that can just go something like, whoa, like, and I was doing with an expectation, this is what they're going to discuss, but new things came up from it. Everything was new and the results were so different. And I had to look at it from a different perspective. And I grew with that. I felt that if everything came and fell into what I expected, I don't think my research would have turned out the way it has. So that's what you got to think. Every time when you see a negative thing that is going past you, reframe that, change, like, change their frame color and see how you want to face it. And then verify it with your supervisor. When your supervisors are saying, don't worry about it, we can deal with it. Because when the factors loading was different, I was worried, did I fail? Like, is it not working? And then she's like, no, don't do that. Do this, download that, so they have now helped me to find a different way to how to make it work. Because it is more like their reputation is on stake as well, right? Because if we fail, they would feel that they have supervised somebody who led to the failure. So they are also accountable to make sure that blindly, yeah, do whatever you want. So I trust my supervisor that if I'm going off path, they will stop me. I have one supervisor who will actually told me in the very first session, she said, Santa, I don't know how to sugarcoat. I don't know how to be nice and, kind of fluffy language. I'm blunt. Can you handle it? Then I just said, yeah, I can, but I couldn't. The very first feedback, I couldn't handle it at all. But then I learned, I said, like, she told me that this is how it's going to be. Santa, grow up. Grow up. It's not personal. She's not pushing you. She's pushing your boundaries for learning. And then since then, it was great. Like, I knew how to respond to her. After the confirmation, when she saw that, whoa, she can do this, my relationship completely changed. Because even at the lowest time, I knew how to work towards, what was expected. That's what you need to do. Very helpful. Thank you, Ola. That's interesting about accountability by supervisors. Yes, it's really, you got to understand, supervisors are not going to waste their time, their reputation, and to supervise you, leading you to a failure. To trust them and go to them if you feel like, sometimes I actually write something and go like, am I on track? Please let me know. Just one line. Am I on track? Please let me know. And they'll go like, you are, but you need to fix this. You need to fix that. So, okay, great. I'm on track. If I'm off track, if they say, Cynthia, you've gone off track. There's one time it happened. My theoretical framework was completely off track. So I was looking at it from a philosophical side of things or, sociological. I think I looked at it from a sociological perspective. They wanted me to look at it from a psychological perspective. I had no idea. So they said, Santa, off track. 3 months of research. 3 months of research I worked on it. Came back, wrote this whole thing about, sociological theoretical framework and a whole chapter. And they say, boom, boom. No, you are looking at a sociological factor. You need to look at from a psychological factor. I had to throw all of that and restart again. 3 months. Can you imagine? You have 9 months on your confirmation document. 3 months is gone. So I had to work towards it. So that's what you have to remember. They're not going to let you off the hook. But then, you know what I learned from it? I should have gone back to them after a month. I should have told them, I found this two theoretical framework. Can you, am I on track? I should have done this sooner, but I didn't. I should have done that, right? So that was my learning. If only I checked with them, hey, I found this theoretical framework. Is that good? Can I use this? No, I wrote this whole chapter about it. And then, trying to proud, like, I got this, like I've nailed it. I've learned it. But no, so I learned from that. So Santa, don't waste your time writing the entire chapter for them to say yes or no. Do it sooner. So that was really important. So that was an important lesson for me. Second, they're not going to let me off the hook. they're holding me, they're accountable for me too. Because if I fail, they would feel bad. Their reputation is at stake, so they're not going to let me off the hook. So I had that trust. So that's when I trusted them that they are not going to go, oh, you worked so hard for it, just continue with it. They're not going to do that. Even if you spend a whole year doing something, if you're wrong, you're wrong. They're going to tell me that, and I had to trust that. So this is how you have to reframe. Every time there are times that they have, actually for my confirmation, after the final feedback they gave me, I fixed the whole thing. And then I said, can you check? And they both were so inundated with work and something else that they were doing. They couldn't see my final document. And they said that just submit it. And I was like sitting there and going like, they didn't even check. What if I did wrong? Why didn't they check? Why are they looking at my glance? Both of them, right? But when I submitted, you know what I told myself? If they said submitted, trusting that I would have addressed all their feedback. Because that's what I have done, right? The whole year, I've been addressing all their feedback. I've always clarified it. So because I have done that, they trusted it again. So that I had to go press submit. So no revisions required. So this is what you guys have to understand. Every action of yours has got a outcome. Every action of them has got an outcome, and how you're going to frame it that works for you. Does that make sense? Does that make sense?
Yep.
Anyone else?
For me, it's what I've gained from this is that I've sort of lived in my own bubble for the past 30 years. So forging my own way through life and I'm learning that I can lean on people and go and sort of get outside my bubble and go and ask people about stuff. And that's, for me, is probably the most I've learned from all this. And with all the other modules and courses, is that we're not alone in what we do. That's like a PhD is a big scary thing, but when you get here and you get people like you telling, yeah, just do this, do that, you can go and get help. That's sort of, it's very reassuring.
Yes. I think that's what you guys have to understand. Just because we are doing one of the highest level of qualification, studying or whatever, doesn't mean we don't need help. There's always help when you seek it. Even for the slightest thing, like I have always gone to my, the grad team or my friends, my peers. There are people who are much younger than me. Like, sometimes even my son helps me, it is like, he's starting out his research journey. Even he tells me some good pointers, how to go and what to do and how efficient I can be or productive, things like that. So he even tells me like, Mom, you're not fully using this mouse. There's just so many features in this mouse and you're not using to save your time. So there's no age to seek help from. Sometimes a younger person will have a lot more ideas with the technology than what you think you know. And so it's not anyone. And as I said, sometimes even though I can be so busy, I do make time to meet my peers, have lunch with them. Sometimes we hear or share things where we are helping one another without even realizing. My husband is a software engineer and definitely helped me with the tech issues. He's a life sanity saver. Yeah, I used to be a software engineer. I kind of like deleted that side of my brain. So that's why my son will go like, Mom, you should know this. You should know this. And I said, no, I have deleted it. So I know I know because it's just too many data. So I'm just deleting some of the data that I can seek help and I don't have to use it. But then again and again, when they say you have to learn this software, you have to learn this, because I'm able to do it, right? So always remember, if you feel that you are overwhelmed, if you feel that you're driven by anxiety or fear or stress or anything, just park your car. Even go for a drive and park your car and then change your hat or look at a different business. I like to sometimes drive and go to an ocean and just, don't even get out. I can just sit in the car and look at the ocean. Just gives me a different perspective. Just calm your nerves, calm your thinking, calm and see it from a different perspective. Once you change your perspective, I always have it like a frame, and then I'll go like, I'm going to change the frame. I'm going to look at it from a different perspective. is that going to change how I'm going to put my step forward? Okay. This journey, it's not easy, but it's definitely worth it. Don't you think so? Look at those people who have succeeded. No one, I am yet to see anyone who says like, oh, my PhD just went so smoothly. No. Everyone has had challenge. I'm yet to see anyone who can say, I had a smooth ride. But no, everyone has challenges. But how you deal with it, and when you accomplish it, the pride you're going to feel because the effort that you have put in. But always be grateful with all those people who were there for you along the way. Your supervisors, your peers, your family. You know, when you have that level of gratitude, I mean, in my gratitude, I have great team as well, because, you know, I have attended that many courses, I have, you know, sought help, and I have clarified, you know, it's just like one thing about that team is like at any time, whether you want to look for career or whether you're looking for your academic writing or whether help with your academic workload or whether it is to do with technical or whether to do with attending a course, every
It's
I think it's a Singapore collection.
mute again.
I get disconnected, but automatically it connects me again. So that, which is good. So one more screen and we are kind of done. Okay. So the last thing is your opinion matters. Like, you know, some of you have already shared, some of you have shared it in the, you know, in your writing and things like that. Your opinion really matters. I'd love to hear your feedback. Alexandra will send you the link to write your feedback. So please give your feedback. Please give what are the things that I could improve on. Don't say there was just too much of text to read, because you are researchers. You are used to reading a lot of text. You know, if I don't do it with a lot of text, then how are you going to learn? You know, so text shouldn't matter, because, you know, some of you are going too much to read. And what do you want? Movies? You know, so
You can
yeah.
find the
But then,
feedback link in your week 5 quiz as well. So it's one of the questions to complete that important feedback for SEMPA.
yeah, they're forcing you to give feedback then. That's good. Yeah, so please do that. Thanks, Ola. And yeah, that would be great, because that's how we learn. Because I'm looking into revamping this again next year if I come back to do this again. And it'll be really interesting to see how your feedback will put into it as well. And also, I would love to hear your key learnings, like, you know, 1 or 3, whatever the number of key learnings that you have that helped you, will help you, or you envisage that is going to move you forward, anything, right? I want you to, because of the 5 weeks, there's so much. Now, tell me what 3 things that just stick with you. Is it value solicitation, or is it this exercise, or, you know, is it the time management tips? You know, what 3 things? If you want to share more, go ahead. Created an impact on how you're going to perceive and see things differently. And I keep saying every week, how you choose to act or react is within your control. Yeah. Don't worry about things that are beyond your control, because there's so much that is within. The emotions of how you choose to act or react is within your control. And when you focus on that, you will change the perspective easily. So I really thank you, and especially those who have been here every week and all those who have been contributing to the discussion. Thank you so much. There are some perceived learners in this group. I completely understand, because of the time factor, that I hope you still got something out of this, and please share it in your feedback. Thank you so much. And please feel free to connect with me via LinkedIn or anywhere, and, you know, we can still continue discussing if there's anything else that comes up. Karen, do you want to stay? If you don't know how to seek help, like who to connect with if you need help.
No, I've done.
Else you want to say?
Well, I've got connected with a few people for
You're
that.
breaking.
So that's been
Oh, good. Okay. So if you know, yeah, that's fine. But there is someone, there are people from Great Team. They do this as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I talk with
Oh,
or
thanks,
email
Lori.
with
That's nice.
Kerry
You talk to Kerry.
to Kerry. Yeah.
Kerry
Perfect.
Freeman?
Yes, she
Yeah,
works
yeah,
with us.
yeah,
Perfect.
yeah,
Yeah.
Kerry Freeman, yeah,
Helping for sure.
yeah.
Excellent.
She'll help you.
Thank you.
That's good. That's great. And thank you, Lo. I've got a regular every year attendee as well. Oh, yes, Christy, I'm definitely going to miss as well. And thanks for connecting via LinkedIn. So yeah, I'd love to see your progress from there. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, okay, bye.